Addressing issues concerning you and your community, this is Focal Point Comiso with your host, Airman Mike Battien.
Good evening, and welcome to Focal Point Comiso. Tonight, we're coming to you from Marina di Ragusa. This evening, we're going to take a look at how the clinic is progressing in their drawdown activities and how military chaplains balance their positions as men of the chapel and military members. We'll also take a look at the 1990 Comiso's graduating class. We're in the beginning of summer, and the Fitness Center has many programs to help you get in shape and receive some awards. And finally this evening, prepare for a wonderful trip to a nearby town of surprising splendor. But first, let's take a look at how Drawdown is progressing. Airman Ron Scory recently spoke with Lieutenant Colonel Dave Stack about Drawdown and its effect on Comiso.
Comiso Air Station is scheduled to close its gates September 25th, 1991. Families and unaccompanied members will stop arriving in November. Colonel Dave Stack explains how the base's manpower needs will affect DEROS's.
What we have is a combination of how many people do we actually need to close out the facilities here at Comiso to meet our 25 September 1991 drawdown date. And of course, along with those lines, we have some people who are going to have DEROS's prior to that, but the way MPC looks at it is the release dates. And they're going to come back and take a look in November. They're going to have a team that comes here and going to establish some release dates for all of our people.
At this stage, the commissary is open until August 1st next year. The BX closes around mid-June. The Shopette then assumes operations through mid-August. After that, the remaining 75 to 80 people have to rely on Sigonella for services. Colonel Stack says personnel will be moved into Comiso 45 to 60 days before closing.
We're in a complex situation where we have our CE folks. They want to get everybody out, vacate the buildings, and make sure, they use the term pickling, that all the facilities are okay, ready for the next occupant, whoever that may be. And quite clearly, you can't have people living in the houses and maintaining offices and buildings while CE is trying to pickle those buildings. So at about a 45 to 60-day time frame, we are going to have accommodations downtown, and we're going to move all our people off during that time.
There will be a shuttle bus to and from the accommodations downtown and the base. With Drawdown, there is the delicate question of how much service can be provided while closing the base. But Wing Commander Colonel Clay Olshner is committed to providing service to the people of Comiso as long as possible. The pool is closing in October this year because of its manpower requirements and expense. It's also been open several years and would require a major renovation to keep it open through next summer. Closing dates for bigger operations are determined by people's needs.
But for the main service items, we're going to try to keep those open as long as possible. We have a series of dates for all of those, and as we work through the execution year of drawing down, we'll have to look at those and see what's the best and see how many people here, what is the composition of our people between the dependent people and the unaccompanied people.
Another common concern regards the disposal of privately owned vehicles. Because there are few local American-type junkyards, abandoned cars present a problem. The Triticos have to be bought out in a lengthy legal process. Ground defense forces are looking for abandoned cars to avoid a huge problem in the final stages of Drawdown. A popular solution is to sell your POV to Navy personnel at Sigonella.
We have a lot of people who do that now. As the base populace dwindles, of course, your market dwindles also. So there's no problem with putting advertisements up in Sigonella, and there's no problem as far as selling it to the Navy personnel up there. There is a restriction, and it applies now, and as always has applied, you can't sell your AFI-plated car to a local national, and that will remain in effect until the end also.
Every organization on base assigns an individual or several people to deal with drawdown issues. The Comiso drawdown is the first of its kind for the Glickum. Everything has to be shipped out. Although the base closing target date is September next year, Colonel Stack says early planning is necessary for the enormous job of closing a base. He also spoke about drawdown challenges.
Well, one obstacle that you have is the resistance to change. People don't like change, and drawing down the base is a big change. So you have to try to forecast how's your office going to operate a year from now. Okay? How many people do you need to make this thing work? And that's a big job. We don't usually draw down bases. We build them up or maintain them. Okay? So when you're talking about drawdown, you have a bunch of people that have never done this before. So one of the obstacles, of course, is trying to get those people to think that far in ahead. You know, I say, well, you got to put on your crystal hat and try to forecast. That's a tough job. And the other aspect is a lot of the people that are here right now, of course, are on one-year tours. They won't be here for the final closure. So that's sort of a mindset you got to come over to. We're dependent upon those people to be conscientious enough to do the effective planning that's going to help people like me that are going to be here at the end.
As drawdown nears, squadrons will consolidate. Because some of the supply and transportation duties correlate with drawdown, the two squadrons will probably form a mini consolidation sometime at the end of summer or early fall.
So we're going to go ahead and commingle those people, which will make it a more cohesive unit for the picking up and shipping out of assets. The whole squadrons of those two will not merge until everybody does, and that'll come about probably about 15 June or 1 July 1991, where basically the wing has been inactivated, and we're planning on doing that 27 May 1991, where we're saying that we do not have any more of a Glickam mission here. And after that, we'll probably form an organization called an air-based group, where all the squadrons would lose their identities and will all be merged into one squadron.
The mission of Comiso remains strong. Flights continue training until the wing deactivation in May of '91. People are kept abreast of drawdown through briefings and drawdown digests in the Comiso columns. The keys to a smooth and successful drawdown are effective planning and preparedness. The office symbol for the drawdown team is CVX. They're located in Building 107, Room 315.
And we have a phone number of 2490. So if anybody has any questions about drawdown, or if they think they can help us out and plan more effectively or have a better way of doing things, they can give us a call. Matter of fact, Sergeant Shields is standing by on the switchboard right now, waiting for those phone calls.
Airman Ron Scroy, Focal Point, Comiso.
Stay tuned to SEB as we will keep bringing you the most up-to-date information on drawdown.